Milestap channel. Today we are going to discuss the political options of one Musalia Mudavadi post the National Delegates Conference that he is having today. So before we delve into this discussion, we want to say that we cherish you as our viewers, and every time that we produce a new content, just feel free to subscribe, and that is the way we will support us. So let's get into the whole issue. First, let's look at Mudavadi vis-a-vis his participation in OCA, or One Kenyan Alliance. I would say that, and even other political observers have realized that OCA was not to be in the first place. It was a unity or a platform of convenience for these leaders. And if you even look at how OCA was formed, it was formed out of disagreement, or perceived disagreement, with one Raila Odinga, with whom they were in NASA coalition. So all the leaders who felt that Raila did not treat them well, or they had a beef to pick with him, they regrouped and formed one platform called OCA. But if you look at OCA itself, it was not a strong coalition. You would not say, from my perspective, I think it was not a strong coalition. So somebody would ask, was OCA to exist for the long haul? I don't think so, because this is one platform that was just there for convenience, and its role was for bargaining purposes. And beyond that, then it was not to be. So what next for Mudavadi? That is the big question. Let's look at the history of Musalia Mudavadi himself. Musalia Mudavadi has had an up and down journey in politics. His journey has actually been kind of interesting. We remember that he's one leader who at the peak of 2002, or pre-2002, he was able to be seen to warm up to KANU, and eventually Moi even appointed him as a vice president. But did he serve on that role? Well, yes, he did, but it was the shortest stint of any leader. It said he's the shortest serving vice president that Kenya had. But that was more of a reward from Moi than anything else. That is how political pundits would view it. So beyond that, and 2002 election was actually a vote of no confidence in KANU, and after that, Musalia and his team were actually taken to political, one would say, almost political oblivion by that kind of election. In Western Kenya, the key leaders that were had were Wamala wa Kijana, Mode Ori, and the group. So that election put Mudavadi in political cold for quite some time. In 2007, Musalia Mudavadi found himself, or he rejuvenated himself through the ODM, and he was actually part of the Pentagon. You remember that he was one of the key leaders who even was rewarded after being part of the CORD coalition, to the extent that he got a post or a position of being one of the Pentagon members. So that really brought his profile, or elevated his profile, to a higher level. And people who knew him, or people who were close to him, saw that at least his political star was shining brighter. So 2007 to 2013, that time Salia had a chance to really build himself, which he did to some extent. And he felt that in 2013 that he was now mature enough and strong enough to run his own campaign. So in 2013, Mudavadi decided to run alone under ANC party. But as things would turn out, it was clear that he was not really strong, or he was not really mature enough at that point in politics to be sure that the whole of his backyard would be with him. So 2013 election really portrayed him in a not so good light, because nationally he performed very poorly, and even in his own backyard he could only manage slightly over 300,000 votes, with his main rival, one Raila Odinga, in that election, or main competitor, beating him, or twice doubling that number in his western backyard. So this did not go down well with him. Sally again got his footing when he joined others under CORD coalition, and under NASA. And particularly the recent history under NASA is something that's worth talking about, because under NASA coalition, there was again some show of confidence of solidarity by his backyard. But was he reading this clearly? Was he reading this to mean that it was through his effort or through the effort of Raila? I think that is what is not clear. Perhaps going forward, it would be important to know whether that was through his effort or not. But what is also clear is that the role that Raila Odinga, or the strength of Raila Odinga in Western Kenya, is not something that Mudavadi can take for granted. So that political support that he got in 2013 was also through his alliance with the one Raila Odinga. So when Mudavadi talks about political earthquake, what does he imply, and how is that going to affect him going forward? Mudavadi, from my perspective, has two options. One is to join a strong coalition that is already in existence, or he can opt to go it alone. But what are the strengths of each of these? If he decides to join one of their coalitions, supposing he decides to join UDA, or United Democratic Party, he's not sure whether his backyard would also follow him there. There are indications that UDA is not a very strong party in Western Kenya. And that has been shown by even the trends in terms of defections of key leaders to which political side, in terms of these two main key parties. So going by the rally, if we can even decide to look at the rally in Bukungu, the rally was very successful, not because that Raila himself was the main person in it, but it was also clear that the Western Kenya backyard was trying to show Mudavadi that, one, they are still willing to go with one Raila Odinga up to the ballot, and secondly is that the political leaders who are associated with Azimio, or in Azimio, are people who you can not take for granted. And that was shown when there was even some defections from even Musalia Mudavadi's own party to that coalition. So the fact that they decided to not join that coalition during that period actually did not change anything in terms of what stood in front of them. So that option of joining Azimio is one strong option that he has. But the other option, he also has the other option, but in Western Kenya, I'm sorry that from my perspective, I may be right or may be wrong, but from my perspective, I don't think that would really give him enough political mileage if he decided to join the other coalition. So, should he decide to run it alone or go it alone, what does that portend for him? One, going it alone is an expensive affair. Any right-thinking politicians would know that this involves this involves resources. It involves organization at all levels, from national to the lowest levels, and it generally involves quite a number of things. So now, eventually, even his backyard is something that he should be willing to look at, and how that would affect his backyard. So going it alone is not a really better option for him, and I don't think even if he go it alone, he would make any impact to the extent that it would bring that kind of impact that he needs. So those options are there for him. We are waiting to see whether we will see whether that is something that he is. But there are all indications that he will decide to run it to go alone. So how does this affect his star? Mudavadi's star hangs in the balance of things. One, if he decides to go it alone, he really has to ensure that he makes an impact in this election. The only impact he can make or intends to make is to ensure that if he does not get the main seat, it triggers a runoff, or his participation in this election triggers a runoff. In that case, other leaders would look his way and see that he was a political heavyweight, so to speak. But if he decides to go it alone and it gets even lower, or it performs poorly than it did in 2013, then that does not really help his political star in any way. So there are options for Mudavadi. He can be part of a coalition. He can decide to run it alone. But if we look deeply into what he has been showing, it's not lost on viewers or people who follow politics keenly that he has been, or his key leaders, his key associates have been strongly advocating for him to join the United Democratic Party. The last one has been, and a key consistent one has been the constant push by Senator One Malala, Kakamega Senator, that Mudavadi is free to work with any party, and he has been really actually directing him towards United Democratic Movement. That is an option that he has. Looking at his body language, I really doubt, and anything can happen in politics, I really doubt if he is willing to work with Raila Odinga. But nothing is never cast on stone in politics. So that is something, an option that he can also explore if it comes to that, but is unlikely, because even in this NDC, he decided to be very clear that he would not want actually the first person that it clearly indicated that you would not want to be in that election was one Raila Odinga. So we will be keenly watching the political field to see how this turns out. But you would not want to be Musalia Mudavadi at this moment. His options are really, really few in terms of what he can do. And that is something that we will be keenly watching. So we would like you to continue being part of this channel. Always feel free. This channel is hosted under Melestar Production, and we would want to thank you very much for taking your time to be part of this channel. Don't always feel free to support this channel at any one point. When we produce a video, we'll always let you know that there is a new one. So thank you very much, and may God bless you.